Okay, gents, it's that time now. Premier League is back. The international break is over. Week 4 of the season is here. All of our attention is going to be on Old Trafford this weekend, I think, with Cristiano Ronaldo having his second debut for Manchester United against Newcastle United. There's going to be a lot of attention on that situation, obviously. Nick Mendola, for you, this game, is this kind of a perfect reintroduction to the Premier League for Cristiano Ronaldo? I'm sorry, I can't help but smile because I know what you're going to say about this already.
Yes, 100 times yes. This is a guy I think it has 5 goals against Is it 5 goals against everybody? Let's be honest. Just a fantastic player. Whatever else you want to say about what he brings to a club, a nation, a populace, he is a fantastic player. And at his age, I saw the comments the other day. La Liga's chief was hitting out at PSG for signing Sergio Ramos and Lionel Messi because of their age. And I was just like, world-class players who are still very close to the top of their games. Yeah, what a problem that they're old. Don't view Ronaldo like an old guy, with the exception of the fact that he may fall off a cliff at some point. He's going to be good. This team provides a lot of service. And what I love about Ronaldo is he can take you on 1v1, but he can also just comically rise high in the air and suspend himself like Doctor Strange to nod powerful headers home. I just think this is should be a great move for them. There's no way he's not a double-digit scorer if healthy. And at his peak, now we don't know who's going to be taking penalties. He's a guy who starts to rewrite United records, which are pretty lofty as it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be some battle between him and Bruno Fernandes for those penalty kicks, I'm assuming. They get on very well, though, so I'm sure they'll work out some kind of system to share those around. Andy, the only issue I have with Ronaldo is obviously he's going to play most games, most weeks. That's just the kind of character he is, the quality he has. He's going to play. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's already said that more often than not. So then you have Edinson Cavani, Marcus Rashford when he's fit, Jadon Sancho, Anthony Martial, Mason Greenwood, Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba, Jesse Lingard still there. You have so many attacking talents. How on earth do you fit all of these in and become a balanced team? Because United have kind of got some balance over the last year or so. You like to think under Solskjaer, and that was a problem before where they'd get hit on the counter or were just a counter-attacking team. They've kind of got balance. So are we a bit worried about what Ronaldo's arrival may actually do to the team overall and their play on the pitch?
Yeah, this is why it didn't make a ton of sense to me, on the field or tactically that they made this signing. I get all the other motivations and the reason that they would want to bring in, a player of his visibility into this team and maybe see that, well, there are a lot of young players that you just mentioned there, Joe, and so a little bit of veteran leadership, somebody that's been there, that's won just about anything that exists in the world that there is to win, bring him in and he will kind of impart that knowledge onto some of these youngsters. But like you say, he's not just going to do that from the shadows or off to the side where he's slightly out of view. He's going to be center stage this entire time. And so Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is now taking, almost a project at Manchester United. And this was the time to start showing some results and to start winning. But it's been a project the entire time that he's been in that job. And it is suddenly now, not only is it not a project, it is you must win something right now. And it must be it must not be the League Cup. It must be, the FA Cup might not suffice either. It might be Premier League or Champions League trophy this season for Manchester United, or the perception around United is going to be, well, we gave Ole all of this stuff. We gave him all these players, all this young talent. We went and got Ronaldo, brought him back. We got Varane. We kept Pogba for one more year. And he couldn't do it. He needs to go. So this could actually be the thing that ultimately, a ways down the road, kind of decides how long Ole is going to be in that job.
And Newcastle have actually had some decent results against Manchester United. Maybe at St James's Park the last few years. The way they set up with the back five, they don't get hit on the counter a lot, and they're very good themselves on the counter. So maybe just something that Man United have got to keep an eye on. But with Ronaldo returning, a full house at Old Trafford, feels like it's going to be a party atmosphere. And it feels like, I'm sorry, Nick, this is only going to go one way at the weekend. So let's wait and see, though. Let's wait and see. Chelsea, Aston Villa is another big game coming up this weekend. Andy Edwards, there's a lot of moving parts here. Obviously, Villa will be without 2 key players in Emiliano Buendia and Emilio Martinez after they went away and played for Argentina. We know what happened with them and Brazil and how that game turned into a farce and was postponed. Chelsea, Romelu Lukaku's an injury doubt. We know Christian Pulisic struggling, and N'Golo Kante, a few others. So this isn't going to be about the strength of the squad, right? And you have to say Chelsea obviously have the stronger squad, but can Villa cause Chelsea, who've looked really good so far, can they cause them some problems at Stamford Bridge?
I think they can be trouble, but I don't think they have much to get a result in this game, because if you look at the two players that they'll be without there, the path to, say, a Villa win is Emiliano Martinez stands on his head and makes 3 or 4 just absolutely incredible saves. Emi Buendia is pulling the strings behind Danny Ings and Ollie Watkins out wide, and they're able to get out on the counterattack just a little bit more. They're only going to be able to get at Chelsea on the counter without Buendia, and Leon Bailey might not be available for this one either. And so there's just a lot of moving parts, and things are just unsettled at Villa at the moment. I think they'll be a very good team come the end of the season. And so Chelsea have to be looking at this as almost a training exercise where Tuchel can reintegrate some injured players that are coming back into the lineup, and he can also maybe rest a couple players that are coming back from international duty and might not be the fittest that they'll be all season long. So this one, I usually like to find a reason that the underdog team can get a result in a game, but this one just feels so slanted towards Chelsea that it almost doesn't even feel worth trying to come up with with the backstory for Villa on this one.
There you go. Leicester City, Manchester City is a game I'm really intrigued to see, because Leicester obviously beat City in the Community Shield at the start of the season. Yes, Man City are missing a lot of players, and they could be for this one as well. But Leicester always seem to give Manchester City a real tough time, whether it's Vardy's pace on the counter or James Maddison popping up in key areas. And I've just got a sneaky feeling here that Pep Guardiola probably isn't too happy where his squad's at right now. He didn't get the star striker in the summer. Yes, they beat Norwich, 5-0, and Arsenal, they hammered them as well before the international break. But this is a big test, and we saw Man City right at the start of the season lose to Leicester, then lose to Tottenham in the Premier League. But it's just all about Jack Grealish for me in this game. He's already pulling the strings. He's already taken on that mantle of being the chief creator. Kevin De Bruyne could be back from injury. They've obviously missed him. And then it's about trying to get Ferran Torres and Gabriel Jesus in the correct areas and become dangerous. But I kind of like the odds of an upset in this one, if you can call it that, because Leicester are obviously a very good team. But the only thing I think that may swing it in Man City's favour is that Leicester, once again, have a lot of defensive injuries. I mean, even new signings, Yannick Vestergaard and Ryan Bertrand are going down with injuries. Johnny Evans is out. Wesley Fofana's out, maybe for the entire season. So they just never seem to have a fully fit squad, and they're somehow still in the top 6 or thereabouts. And they've looked okay, aside from that West Ham defeat where they had the red card and it all kind of fell apart. So, yeah, Leicester doing okay. Manchester City, you kind of feel like now they're trying kick on, but it's not ideal for these big Premier League giants now who've had players who've travelled a long way over the international break, weren't allowed to travel in the case of some of their Brazilian players, and there's that whole issue there as well. And then they're still having some players come back from injury over the summer. So, yeah, in a long-winded way, I'd probably go for Man City to win narrowly, but I would not be surprised if Leicester City gave them a few problems. Nick, talking about teams who can give teams problems, Leeds United host Liverpool at Ellen Road. That should be one heck of an atmosphere. What are you looking for in this game, mate?
I'm looking for, first of all, to see about Liverpool and Leeds, how they react to having dealt with a lineup worries all week, with the story of the Brazilian players coming back, and Rafinha, Roberto Firmino, Alisson Becker, who am I missing? Fabinho. And I think that if I'm Leeds, I obviously would like to win. I'm at home to Liverpool. I've got history in my corner, but I'm also thinking, well, we got Newcastle next, because Leeds has not looked very good this year. They're integrating some new pieces, and Manchester United crushed them. That's fine, but they were second best to Everton at home. They were arguably second best to Burnley at home, and they're due to break out. I don't know if they aren't saying, look, let's get through this game. Liverpool is very, very good. I think they're yet to hit their stride, but they're more on the come up. Question becomes, coming out of an international break, regardless of the question with Brazil, is which is the team that's going to still be on the plane? And it's a natural human thing. It's not an indictment on players, and it's not an indictment on a manager. But that's what I'll be curious to see. Will Liverpool be harmed at all by the fact that they have more international action to deal with?
Yeah, it's always tricky coming out of these international breaks, right, to predict how teams are going to do. Always seems to be a few funny results around the league. Other games to keep an eye on this weekend: Arsenal against Norwich City, the battle of the two bottom teams who have yet to pick up a point. You do feel that if Mikel Arteta and Arsenal do not win that game, my word, there is going to be even more pressure building on him. And yes, they've had a lot of problems with injuries and COVID outbreaks and other situations, but it does feel like almost make or break so early in the season. This little run of games coming up now for Arsenal. They have to get some points on the board. Otherwise, Arteta is going to be under, well, just an incredible amount of pressure. Southampton against West Ham, Watford Wolves, and Crystal Palace against Tottenham. Let's see if Nuno Espirito Santo's side can make it 4 wins from 4 to start the season. Seems like a good game for them against Patrick Vieira's Palace, who, you know, have done okay in fits and starts, but Tottenham on the counter, I do fancy them in that first game of the weekend. So a lot to look forward to in the Premier League. Of course, you can go over to Pro Soccer Talk on NBCSports.com for the latest analysis, reaction, previews, stream links, anything else you need. The 3 lads you can see on the screen right now will have you covered. And gents, also for me to say is great international break. Enjoyed reading all of your great content throughout that few weeks. It was an up and down ride for the US men's national team, but they got through it unbeaten and they're looking okay. And now we refocus on the Premier League, and I cannot wait for that this weekend. So thanks for joining me, gents. Pleasure as always. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll speak to you all very soon.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch highlights all season long, and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend at 7 a.m. Eastern. And for even more content, head over to Peacock, where we've got live games, original series, and a dedicated round-the-clock Premier League channel featuring studio shows, classic matches, and much more.